Hello and welcome gamers to yet another episode of Vidja Game Hunting. My name is Ryan, aka Vidja Gamer. So remember my last video when I said I was going to get better about putting out regular content? Well, that was 6 weeks ago. My bad on that. I do need to get better about this. It's just been a crazy month, so this video is essentially going to equate to my March pickups. So let's get right into this. One thing I did want to mention though is YouTube. If you aren't aware, just recently announced that simply subscribing to channels will not be enough to direct those videos into your subscription feed any longer. So if you are subscribed and you're thinking about subscribing and you like what you see, be sure to hit that little notification bell next to the subscribe button so that you're notified of all my videos, or follow me on Twitter. It's easy to see when I'm posting something new there also. And in fact, do that for all of the small YouTubers or any YouTubers that you like and support, because it's ridiculous that we even have to be talking about this. Simply subscribing to a channel should be enough to be notified of new content from YouTubers that you follow, but that's just not the case anymore. So be aware of that. Anyway, let's get right into pickups. Let's start off with a couple smaller things. First up, found this World of Nintendo 8-bit Princess Peach figure. Pretty cool. I have not seen this one before. This is like the Walmart kind of branding with the white, not the enclosed box that you see at some other places. So that was cool. And then for my brother-in-law, I traded him a game, and he had picked up a GamerGear with the bag at a thrift store, I believe. Got it really cheap, like $3 or something. The GamerGear itself, it turns on, the screen doesn't come in. I'm guessing it needs new caps. But that wasn't the reason I picked it up. I wanted the games that he had with it, and that was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Garfield Caught in the Act. Sounds a little risque. Shame on Garfield. And then Echo the Dolphin. So with that out of the way, let's get into some other stuff. I've been picking up some clearance items lately. I was at Target. They had a bunch of clearance stuff actually. This one Target in our area was rearranging, so basically half the store was being moved around. The gaming section got cut into about a half to a third, so they cleared out a bunch of stuff. And I was able to pick up some Switch games really cheap. This one's Kabuto Burst Battle, I believe, and this was $8.98. No idea about this game. It doesn't look that great, to be honest. I also picked up Farming Simulator Nintendo Switch Edition, $14.98. Can't wait to grow some crops. It's going to be just fantastic. And then, not a real exciting one here, but RBI Baseball 2017, $8.98. So for some new Switch games, I didn't think that was a bad deal at all. And then also at Target, you've seen this on a lot of other YouTubers' channels, I'm sure. This is that Oregon Trail handheld. This thing is really cool. It's exclusive to Target. I think it's $25. You know, if you're my age and you grew up playing Oregon Trail in school or just at a friend's house, I don't know that anyone really owned this though outside of school. Playing in the computer lab. This is a great little way to remember this game. Really fun. I actually have sunk a good amount of time into this. And then I backed a Kickstarter project or crowdfunding. I can't remember if it was, I think it was a Kickstarter. And this was for Arduboy Adventure, Arduboy Venture Edition. So basically, if you're not familiar with the Arduboy, it's like a credit card sized little handheld, and Ardu Adventure is like the largest game that's been released for it. It's kind of, I would say, think Link's Awakening on the Game Boy crossed with like Pokemon. It's really ambitious given the hardware that it's put out on, and this is a great package. I'm probably going to do a video review on this, just a quick overview. My buddy Retro Rob did a really good in-depth review and overview of the deluxe handheld and then the game. So I'll probably put a link to that in the description below. Check that out if you're curious in the meantime, because mine probably won't be nearly as in-depth as the video he did. And it's a great video. Check it out. Anyway, really excited to finally have that. I've been playing a lot of that. I haven't quite finished the game yet, but I would imagine I'm about halfway through it. So, on from there, I was kind of working on a trade with my buddy Andy, Video Game Experiment. He runs videogameexperiment.com. I've mentioned that site a few times, but in previous videos, if you haven't checked it out already, please go ahead and check it out. He's got a great online store and reasonable prices. I'll leave a link to that in the description below as well. And anyway, he had some games I wanted, and I finally just got around to working out a trade with him. So I got some NES games off of his site. And we'll just go through these quickly. Wheel of Fortune, Vanna White Edition. Not too exciting, I know, but it was a game that I didn't have, and Van is looking very lovely on the cover here. Super Pitfall. Again, not a really uncommon game. I just didn't have it for whatever reason. It's also not a very good game, which is disappointing for, you know, us 2600 kids. You really thought the next Pitfall on the Nintendo was going to be something great after the Atari 2600 version, and Super Pitfall just kind of sucks. And we've got a light gun game here, an SNK game also. Mechanized Attack. Not a bad light gun game. I don't have a tube TV hooked up at the moment, so I wasn't able to play with light gun, just the crosshairs. It was playable, but it's about what you'd expect. It's similar to Operation Wolf, I guess. A little harder to find game, James Bond Jr. I had not played this one at all. It's not a bad game, it's just kind of a convoluted game. So it's a little tough to know what you're doing, but it's cool to have in the collection. A fun game here. I'm not a huge fan of this series, but they are fun. They're enjoyable little platformers. This is Adventure Island 3. And, you know, Adventure Island I always thought was just a little more tamed down version of, like, Mario Brothers, as far as just the levels being very flat and uninteresting for the most part. This one does a better job of breaking that up. And then last up I got Pugsley's Addams Family. Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt. This did come in a rental case. The original box is in here. It's of course cannibalized to fit into the rental case. And inside we've got the manual and the cartridge. Harder to find game, not super expensive or anything. And it's a decent game. I did play some of it. I was playing it for quite a while before I realized that I don't think there's any background music in this game, which is sort of odd for a platformer. And you don't really notice. I mean, you kind of tell something's not quite right, but then it dawned on me that, oh yeah, there's no music here. So it's a little bit weird, but I'm really happy to have this in the collection. It's a pretty fun game. So then when Andy and I got together to do that trade, we also went to GameStop. They were doing a sale that weekend, and we picked up a few games. I don't generally stop at GameStop to look for games, but they had some deals. So I picked up new Super Luigi Brothers for the Wii U. I do have like the new Super Mario Brothers U combo with this one in it, but I wanted just the standalone disc, and I think it was like 25 or 30 bucks. Not a bad deal. And then I picked up another Wii U game, Sonic Lost World. I didn't have this one. I know it got like fairly decent reviews. I played a little bit of it with my kids. My kids are really into Sonic all of a sudden. It wasn't bad. It's kind of what you'd expect from a modern Sonic game. It's just a slight disappointment. And another game that I've heard good stuff about, and this is Sin and Punishment Star Successor for the Wii. Heard somebody talking about it on a podcast recently, and I remembered seeing it, and it looked like something I'd been interested in, so I thought I'd grab it before it was too late. I think this was dirt cheap, like $3-4 maybe at the most. And then on top of that, Andy and I went to a convention for the podcast, Weekend Rental, that we do. And there was a expo in my town. It was the first year they were doing it. It was like a tabletop gaming and electronic gaming convention. So they had console stuff. They had Magic, they had tournaments, things like that. VR room. It was pretty small first year out, and we set up as like vendors, kind of just promote the podcast. And we were also selling some retro games. I brought some stuff to put on the table. Andy brought some stuff, and one of the things he brought was a brand new copy of the special edition Fire Emblem Warriors for the Switch. And he had it on the table all day. He was selling it for like 50 bucks, which I was sort of thinking I was going to take this home anyway, and then he marked it down to 40. I'm not going to leave it there for 40, and I do really like the Warriors games in Hyrule Warriors, so I thought, you know, I'll probably get into this. So I picked it up. Heck of a deal. So that was awesome of Andy to let me take that off his hands for 40 bucks. And then also when we were there was another vendor from a local area gaming store, I guess, Ultima Gaming. They're out of Perham, Minnesota. Anyone who's watching this from the Fargo-Moorhead area is well aware of where that is. And he's got a pretty decent store. They do like a lot of Magic stuff, plus retro games. And they did a contest for the fastest run, World 1-1, on the original Mario Brothers. And I won that with the fastest time. And I won this little plushie mushroom head 1-up, or big, I guess. So that was cool. Nice of them to hook me up. And I'll leave a link to their store website in the link or in the description below also. And actually, they hooked us up with some stuff that we're going to be giving away for the podcast. So if you don't follow Weekend Rental's Twitter page or Twitter feed, I recommend that, because we're going to be giving away some stuff in the next couple weeks here. But anyway, yeah, it wasn't bad. I think after this contest ended, like, somebody walked in like 5 minutes later and a kid put down a score that was like 2.5 seconds faster than mine, so I guess it didn't really win.
You're a phony!
But the contest was over, so I got the prize anyway. Yeah, so that was what I picked up. Midwest Gaming Classic, everyone, that is coming up very soon, April 14th and 15th in Milwaukee. I will be down there with some of my friends. Hopefully I can run into some of you guys, some fellow YouTubers and collectors. If you see me there, I'd love to say hi. And I'm super excited for that. I'm sure I'm going to be getting some amazing pickups there and probably do a pretty cool video while we're down there. I think we're going to do some podcast stuff too, maybe live record some things. But as always, sorry for the delayed presence and getting a video out. It's just life sometimes gets in the way. More stuff coming soon. As always, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time.